What is up, guys? So a new trailer for The Flash Season 5 Episode 1 has been released. The trailer is titled Warzone, and the episode is titled Nora. I'm gonna show the whole trailer right here, and then I'm gonna break it down. So without further ado, let's watch the trailer.
You're saying you're our daughter?
Yep, from the future.
Named Nora?
After your mother. Kinda stuck here now. Anybody know what to do?
My whole life's been out of order. Nora shouldn't be here.
Ugh, these computers are even slower than the ones at the Flash Museum.
Did you say Flash Museum?
Yeah, I've studied everything.
This man is hiding in the shadows.
You guys beat him. At least you were supposed to.
The timeline changed. We need to send her home.
But you guys have such a strong connection.
In the future, what happens to me?
What is that sound? Barry? Who's there?
I don't know.
If we don't stop this, Central City's gonna be a war zone.
I'm sorry. I guess things don't always go the way you plan them.
So the trailer starts with things we've seen before in previous trailers. It's the continuation of the cliffhanger from last year, and that continuation takes place right at the beginning of the episode, and the episode will not have a time jump at all, which is weird because Arrow and Supergirl are getting time jumps, so I don't know how they're going to match the timeline with Arrow and the Flash and Supergirl in terms of the crossover. Maybe they're going to do another time jump between episode 1 and 2 or episode 2 and whatever. I don't know. I think they have to do something like that. But we see Nora says that she's named after Nora Allen, Barry's mother, which was obvious. That was obviously the case. But I like the fact that that was confirmed. And the moment right there in the trailer is a pretty nice moment. 10 seconds into the trailer, we see Barry getting back 10 seconds into the trailer, we see Barry getting back to his CSI work, which is not really something we've seen since Season 1. Season 1 had a big focus around his CSI job. At least, I don't think it wasn't the main focus or anything, but it was definitely a huge focus in the show, and it was honestly really interesting, and I want to see that return in this season, and it seems like at least in this episode it is returning, although I think the beginning of Season 4 and 3 had that as well. I just think that they put it in the beginning episodes and they just completely forget about it in later episodes, but I'm hoping that they do not forget about it because I really like the CSI work, at least in Season 1. The way it worked in Season 1, I liked it a lot, so I hope that we see more of it, at least a little bit more of it in this season, and at least in this episode we definitely will. Then we have Nora Allen referencing the Flash Museum, where she says that the computers in the Star Labs are even slower than the Flash Museum, and obviously they're slower because she is, I think, 30 years in the past, and obviously computers are going to be a lot faster in 30 years, and maybe the Flash Museum just has very outdated computers, maybe. I don't know, but this is like the third reference to the Flash Museum on the show. One time where he went to the future or the past or a different dimension, or I mean Earth. I can't really remember, but it was one of those portal thingies where he ran through it and he saw the Flash Museum. It was probably one of the future things, going to the futures, because it's going to happen on this Earth, because I mean she mentioned it, and it's been referenced before where Barry said something. I don't really remember what episode, but he didn't really name drop the Flash Museum, but it was a reference to the fact that there could be possibly a Flash Museum, and then this episode, this trailer confirms that there will officially be one. I don't know when it will be built in the show, probably in the next couple seasons, maybe even this season. I think it would be kind of awesome if it happened in the final season where Central City like really likes the Flash. I mean, they have already, but like really likes the Flash as a hero, and then they build him a museum maybe in the final season. I think that would be cool to see, but I really like this moment where she says that she studied everything about the Flash in the museum. I think that was a pretty great moment as well. So then we hear a line about Cicada where somebody says this man is hiding in the shadows, and I don't know about you guys, but the guy who's saying that kind of sounds like Tom Cavanagh. Tom Cavanagh is the guy who plays Harrison Wells, if you don't know, which you probably do, but he is returning for this season with a new character, which is not something I really want to see. He's played enough characters, in my opinion. I think he should probably leave the show at this point. He doesn't really add anything, and at this point, it's really repetitive and tiring. I'm hoping that if we are getting this new Harrison Wells, who is named Sherlock Wells, I'm hoping it's the last one, and either he's retired off the show, or Sherlock Wells is just the character that stays on the show for the rest of its run. But Sherlock Wells will be the new character. He's described as somebody who's maybe not to be trusted, and somebody who is really, really smart, just like other Harrison Welleses, and I think that this is the guy who says about Cicada he's hiding in the dark. Maybe he will have a very strong connection to Cicada. Either way, I don't think Sherlock Wells really needs to exist, but who knows, maybe he'll turn out to be a great character. So a lot of this trailer, honestly, is very interesting in my opinion, because of something that they did in The Flash Season 1, which is a very interesting concept and probably an original idea, where the show actually takes place in a secondary timeline and not the original timeline. In the original timeline, Barry became the Flash, I think in 2018 or 2020 or something like that, and Reverse Flash never killed his mother, and then after that, because of that, Reverse Flash got revenge on him, and there was a whole story, and then he ended up killing his mother, which created the second timeline, which is the one we're watching, where Barry becomes the Flash in 2014, and that was a very interesting concept for me, and I think this season is getting back to that concept. It was something in Season 1, after that in Season 2, 3, and 4, they didn't really do much with it, which was pretty disappointing. I would have loved to see more of that premise, but it seems like they might be getting back to it in this season, where they visit the newspaper in the Time Vault, and it's all about the 2024 crisis, which, who knows, might be a crossover event. There might be a flash forward in this episode, and one of these episodes, to that fight scene, because a lot of people are saying that Hawkgirl is returning to the Flash in an episode. It's not confirmed, but I think people are saying that she was on set, so maybe, because in the article it said Green Arrow, the Flash, and Hawkgirl fought Reverse Flash. They wrote that before they knew that Hawkgirl was leaving Legends of Tomorrow in the Arrowverse forever, because she and Hawkman and Vandal Savage were all so poorly received because they were really not done well. So at that point, they kind of wrote themselves a hole where they need to use Hawkgirl in the future. So maybe they're doing that in this episode or in this season, where they have a flash forward to that event, which is something I would love to see, but it would have been cooler to see it in the 10th season and have it actually play out, because the 10th season would be 2024, so that would have been cool to see as well. But who knows, maybe maybe they won't even get to the 10th season, so they might be doing it now just for like a failsafe, and then if they do get to the 10th season, they will do it like in full, so that would be awesome to see as well. But I'm really excited for this whole premise to return of the original timeline. We have Barry asking Nora what happened to the original Barry. I think that's what she's saying, and then she tells him, and he seems like he's crying, so that is very interesting. Who knows what happened to him? Maybe he was killed, because he did disappear in the Crisis event, although I think that Crisis event took place right before Reverse Flash killed his mother. I'm not really sure, but this whole thing I am very interested to see in this season, and I would love for this premise to return. A big part of this episode is Barry and Team Flash trying to get Nora back to her time, and we see that right here. So first of all, Barry is in a Season 2 costume or Season 3 costume with the white emblem, which is weird because we saw him in previous promotional photos and trailers in his Season 1 costume with the red emblem, so I don't know what they did there right there. I don't know why he went to that, and then like Season 1 costume and then Season 3 costume. I don't really know what they're doing here, but we do see them try to time travel Nora Allen back to her time. It definitely will not succeed, maybe because the Speed Force wants her to stay in the present, because there's really no other reason it wouldn't succeed. She's using the Tachyon device, which made Barry like 10 times faster than he was originally back in Season 2, and that did make him travel to a different universe, not time, but I think they can control that. I'm pretty sure they haven't really explained this very well, but I think going that fast, you can control whether or not you go to a different Earth or a different time, depending on how you are vibrating, I think. So Nora Allen should be able to go back to the future using this Tachyon device, being boosted by Barry's speed, as you see in this shot right here, but she obviously will not succeed, probably because either she doesn't want to, just like how Bart Allen did that in Young Justice, where he faked not being able to go back to the future just because he needed to be in the past. I think they can definitely do that. Again, I have said that Bart Allen has a huge influence on this character's storyline, so they might be doing that as well, like they did in Young Justice, or maybe the Speed Force has a thing where they need Nora Allen to stay in the present day just to help Team Flash defeat Cicada. So we see another shot of the Season 5 costume, which it seems like the promotional material for these trailers are really holding back on. They don't really want to show a lot of shots of the costume, and I don't blame them. It doesn't look very good for the most part. A lot of the photos and pictures and shots we've seen of them have been very, very hit and miss, but I would say, I'm glad to say that this shot right here, 37 seconds into the trailer, does not look half bad. It looks pretty good in my opinion. Maybe it's the light, maybe it's the angle, but I think this costume in this shot at least actually looks pretty cool. Maybe not as cool as the season 4 costume, which would have been basically perfect if not for the zipper, but I think it still looks serviceable enough to be a good Flash costume. 38 seconds into the trailer, I just realized that this is definitely not a trailer for the first episode, going off the synopses, because we see here Vibe actually facing off against Cicada, and Cicada doesn't meet Team Flash until episode 2, so this is not a trailer for episode 1, it's a trailer for episode 1 and 2, maybe even 3, but we see Vibe shaking, his hand is shaking, and then he can't control his vibrational blasts or something like that when he's going up against Cicada. That's just because of Cicada's power to really prevent metahumans from using their powers, to nullify their powers. I don't know how Team Flash will be able to fight against somebody like that, but they will probably have some way to do that. But Cisco Ramon's actor Carlos Valdez said that the character's powers will be pushed to the limit in this season, and I think that will happen in one of the first episodes, going off the fact that episode 3 is titled The Death of Vibe. I don't actually think he's going to die in that episode, but I think that he might lose his powers and therefore lose his superhero moniker as Vibe. So I think if his powers were to be pushed to the limit at all, it would be in episode 2 where he's going up Cicada in this exact shot. Maybe he actually isn't affected by Cicada's powers to the point where he actually could do something back, and that is where he pushes his powers to the limit, and that would be Team Flash's gun against Cicada, but that would be an easy way out, so then he could lose his powers right after that, so he isn't really the Ex Machina that Team Flash needs to defeat Cicada. But I think at this point in the scene, he might actually get one up on Cicada in the second episode. So that is it for the trailer breakdown. This video is getting a little long, and there's not really much to talk about left in the trailer. There are a bunch of shots of Cicada in the West household, which is very interesting, but I don't think anything will come out of that except for Joe being kidnapped, because we do see him actually be kidnapped by Cicada, so that's probably it. But anyway, let me know what you thought about this trailer in the comments down below. Me personally, I thought this trailer was pretty awesome, maybe even the best trailer of the season so far, but I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.